not exactly what you would think of as the stuff of myth or legend. Or is it? Knitting is one of the oldest forms of fabric creation, dating back to at least the 11th century. The oldest known item of knitted clothing is a pair of socks from the 11th or 12th century Egypt. Let us turn our attention to a period of human history that has often served to illuminate our modern day lives. I am alluding, of course, to the Middle Ages.
Oh, the Crusades? Well, naturally, it's a frightfully common historical misinterpretation that has been allowed to fester like a bubonic boil. There was no papal dictate motivated by religious fervor. No, it was Pope Urban II who got cold feet at the Council of Clermont in 1095. I mean, literally, he had cold feet. And he heard the Muslims in Jerusalem were using new stitches to create, well, terrifically effective socks, and by Jove, he was going to get a pair, even if it required all the armies of Europe. We believe his exact words were, "I ad sanctum terram mihi quae novas tibilias aut ne ready." Go to the Holy Land, get me new socks, or don't come back at all.
As you might imagine, the form and texture of knitted products has changed through the decades and centuries as new materials and new stitches were created. The variety of stitches changed as cultures changed, patterns transmitted through trade and commerce. As knitting in the Mediterranean, Norway, Japan, China, North America has evolved, the diversity of effort and product is beyond categorization and comprehension. Think of a single stitch you might know. Is a stitch a pearl, a stockinette, a cedar moss, a breaded rib, herringbone, honeycomb, or trinity? As we come to understand the history and complexity of these stitches, one troubling question lurks in the minds of every knitter. Yes, that's right. Is there a so-called impossible stitch? In other words, is there a stitch that has never been created and could, as a result of its complexity, never be created? And if so, what is it? We decided to travel to North America to visit one of the many knitting clubs or circles to find out.
I just finished a sweater for my nephew. I used the expanding pearl stitch. Do you like it?
Yes, I do.
He's 7.
Now, do you also make socks?
Of course I do, Sonny.
So, I have a small question for you. Have you ever heard of the impossible stitch?
Why did you ask her that? Why, look, you've given her such a fright.
Oh, I'm having a vapor.
Oh, no, Pam.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I meant no harm.
Listen here. We never talk about the impossible stitch. It can't be done. No one here has tried it, and no one should. Such complexity, it's not good for the soul. There are mountains we should not climb, ocean depths we should not probe. I'll forget you asked a question.
Okay, so since we were talking about this, I'm only going to mention that I heard that there was a tale of a knitter in China who attempted the impossible stitch and broke all of her bones. All of her bones.
Well, we all know the story of the Guatemalan princess who said she was going to make the stitch and then she jumped right into a volcano. I mean, yes, dear, it is true.
Yes, all our records indicate it's true. There is an impossible stitch. And we know the name of it. It's the Reverse Lutenberg Seed Basket Creeper 427. Yeah. Now, it originated, as far as we know, in Mongolia, was transported across the Silk Road to India, eventually made its way to the Mediterranean, and from there eventually found its way to the New World via Veracruz, Mexico. However, there are also indications of the stitch in cave paintings in Uzbekistan, Norse poetry in the Orkney Islands, and Incan burial sites in Peru. So, we really don't know where it started, where it's been, or where it's going. We just know it's pretty darn hard to execute. And anybody who tells you they've done so is either lying, or drunk, or both.
Yes, in fact, the stitch has only been attempted by 3 knitters that we know of in modern recorded history.
We do know of an effort by an 18th century French knitter who was, by all reports, close to completion of the stitch. But French authorities suspected her of revolutionary tendencies and, well, you can imagine what happens next. And what followed was, well, the official version was the storming of the Bastille, but we now know it to be the revenge of the knitters.
Liberté! Égalité! Tricotée! Liberté! Égalité! Tricotée! Liberté! Égalité! Tricotée!
We were in the castle of Brashnik, in the province of Gobolek, high up in the tower, looking over a huge field of beautiful flowers.
Get to the point!
I'm getting there.
Yes, and we were knitting!
Yeah, we were knitting, and then the door burst open. They came with the torches, the pitchforks, the knives,
God,
and I said...
Please finish this story!
No, I said, what is this? The Spanish Inquisition? Then they threw us all out the window. And because we landed in the manure pile, thank God, we survived.
But the stitch did not.
The stitch did not.
Now, thank God. Now, can we have some tea, please?
Perhaps some vodka is what you need.
Da.
Rydyn me hynfa an pís over Grace, no fa ai Seoul ach ai America an Titanic. Ha, vier sagad an schoolach, an Javen. An oider sin chai an pís over Grace for the leis an toiach agus ha akas in a chulach.
Yes, and it's stories like these that have deterred others from this terrifying challenge of knitting. And yet, despite the historical record, the cataclysmic events, the generations-old curse, and the ominous music, there will always be, well, one misguided individual to attempt it.
I've got it! Careful! Just one more! Yes! Eureka! I got it! Marge! Come quick!
He wasn't a very good knitter anyway. Did you see his sweaters? He couldn't give them away.
And so the quest continues. Or does it? Is the impossible stitch an impossible dream that should be shielded from human curiosity, much like the fabled Ark of the Covenant?
Tread not upon this path. Seek not this elusive treasure. You have been forewarned. Those who attempt it shall suffer a nightmare of the spirit, the poison of 1,000 scorpions, eternal condemnation, fire, and a nasty cramp in the hand.
And there are some, we might call them conspiracy theorists, who believe that the stitch has not been created because there are forces, powerful and influential people who don't want it created.
Land is your land, and this land is my land, from California.
I understand you wish to disguise your identities from certain authorities. Why is that?
You know that there are people all over the globe who want to suppress knitters. And they'll stop at nothing. They have wealth and power, but we are strong. And we have yarn. And we have needles.
Imagine if we, the common knitters of the world, are able to create the impossible stitch. It'll be like Liberation Day for us. There will be no mountain we can't scale, no river we can't ford. The universe will be open for exploration.
That's right. That's right.
These people are afraid of how powerful we might become. Yes. Liberate the knitters. Liberate the knitters. Liberate the stitch. Liberate the stitch.
Well, I have some knitting friends, but after a minute or two of polite conversation, how do you do, how's the weather, how are the kids, and so on and so forth, we have nothing to talk about.
And so we are left with more questions than answers. Clearly, the 20th century was not prepared to embrace the impossible stitch, and through the first quarter of the 21st century, there is still no resolution to the dilemma. And yet there remain a small group of believers, or should we say, dreamers.
Mi a juisken al eerst. An oer sy'n teimi siweth ar y feinsyn.
That's simply marvelous, marvelous. Look at it.
Long tail.
Spectacular
Yes,
flourish.
brilliant, brilliant.
Well, there seems to be a great deal of excitement over here. Given that we're in Philadelphia, it is 1776, and I would imagine that this is a group of signers of the Declaration of Independence. Let's take a closer look.
Well, great Caesar's ghost, John. I don't think you'll be able to match that.
I've been around a while. I thought I'd seen it all, my dear Ben. Where did you learn that?
Where do you think? Paris.
I suggest we send one of Franklin's sweaters to King George and tell him, here's our next payment for the year.
Oh, come now, gentlemen, come now. Is it your intention to complete this declaration or to knit?
Knit.
Knit!
Get to it. Get to
How
it. Get
do
to
we
it.
do this
Yeah.
now? Yes, let's
Here
see.
we go. Yeah.
All right. Oh, well done.